chukchak, you are
Madam K.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Grabe. Parang lagi kang kinakabahan. Are you not expected to be in the top 5?
Because I'm always called last, so the pressure, but also the excitement is on. So I hope I'll give the best tonight.
Of course you will. I know that. So here's your question, judges. Maliit ang pagkakasulat. Grabe. Sa matandang katulad ko. As the present generation benefits from the advancement of technology, do you think books are still relevant? As the present generation benefits from the advancement of technology, do you think books are still relevant?
We live in a modern technology. We live in a modern era where technology is very rampant since it's already 2023. And personally, I can say that books are still relevant. Why? Because first, since we are living in the modern technology, there are technologies called e-books. When we say e-books, it's downloadable on our mobile phones or any gadgets. And one pro that we can get from it is that it's accessible anywhere we go. And also, books are still relevant because personally, we know that books are primary sources and there are two types of sources. And as a smart reader, we should always prioritize to only believe on the primary sources to know what's really behind those books. And personally, we can also get something from it. We can benefit from it since we live in an Asian country. We live in Southeast Asia, and there are a lot of users of technology, especially during this pandemic, that everyone here, and especially the students, are only using gadgets because they cannot have access to face-to-face classes. So if it will be like Singapore, who is advanced on technology, then who knows? Maybe the Philippines could go back to the rising tiger of Asia that our country once used to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen number 3. 11.
Hello po.
Napakaganda. Actually, kabatch ko siya sa Miss Q&A All-Stars. Pick your question. She is Miss Bulacan. Here is your question, Mikay. There is a saying, the best man for a job is a woman. If this is so, what is the best job for a woman? I repeat, there is a saying, the best man for a job is a woman. If this is so, what is the best job for a woman?
Okay. Maraming salamat po sa inyong katanungan. Hayaan niyo akong sagutin ang inyong katanungan ng naaayon sa inyong opinyon. Ngunit, hayaan niyo akong sagutin ito ng naaayon sa aking opinyon na nagmula pa ho sa aking puso, isip at nararamdaman. Ano nga daw ho ba ang best job para sa mga babae? Ito ho ay ang pagiging ina. Bakit kamo? Dahil kung hindi niyo ho maitatanong, kagaya ho ng sinabi ko kanina, hindi ko ho nakilala ang aking ama. Ngunit gayong paman din, pinagtaguyod ho mag-isa ng aking ina. Siya po ay nagsilbing ama at ina at ako po ay narito sa inyong harapan. Matino, mabait at magalang at hindi ho naging dahilan ng pagkaroon ko ng kawala ng ama. Naging mabuting ina ang aking ina. At lagi ho nating tatandaan na maging mapagmasalamat po tayo sa ating ina dahil 50% ho ng kanilang buhay ay inalay nila sa atin nung tayo ho ay nasa loob ng kanilang sinapupunan at sa kanilang pag-iriho ang kanilang kalahating katawan ay nakaalay sa lupa. Lagi ho nating tatandaan, huwag ho nating kalimutang sabihin ang mahal kita, ina. Dahil ang salitang sasabihin ko sa aking huling hininga, aking ina, mahal kita. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ang ganda mo na, kamukha mo naman si Lobby po. Maraming nagsasabi.
Yes po.
Okay. Here is your question. Relax. How would you respond to a 5-year-old kid who asks you, why are you a woman? How would you respond to a 5-year-old kid who asks you, why are you a woman?
Alright. Thank you so much for a very mind-bubbling question coming from the very gorgeous for
Thank
tonight's
you.
pageant. So, what actually
What can you respond?
how can I respond to a 5-year-old kid who asked me why I am a woman? Ladies and gentlemen, as I've mentioned earlier, that all of us here in our society are created by God. God created us. God has no negative comment by handling ourselves on the way we want. Only God wants is know our limitations in life, lesson learned in our mistakes, and obey His commands. Ladies and gentlemen, I should say to a 5-year-old child that a transgender woman is a woman who can act and think like a woman and love like a woman. Like my mother who's in the backstage supporting me from what I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, those three things is the most important thing that every human must experience, and that is the reason of our very, very own existence. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, candidate number 30.
Thank you, Ms. Christine Hermosa.
Ay, grabe. Picture question. Nakaganda nito.
Thank you.
Here is your question. It is believed that change is the only constant or permanent thing in our world. How would you advocate for change in the society who refuses to acknowledge change? It is believed that change is the only constant or permanent thing in our world. How would you advocate for change in the society who refuses to acknowledge change?
Okay, thank you very much for that very mind-boggling question. How would I advocate change to a society who refuses that change is inevitable? I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that each and every one of us experience change. And we all know that change is already there in the society and in our environment. And how will I advocate change to a society who refuses from it? Definitely, I would say that there is one God who is the leader of change. We society can never experience, we society can always experience change. And through this change, we learn from it because of God. God has given us this change for us, our individuality, to learn something from it. Therefore, let us not refuse change in the society or in this world, because always remember that change is part of our living existence. Always remember that what God has given you is a pure serenity of love, acceptance, and most especially change. Therefore, at this moment in time, let us always take this time to make our life more productive than anybody else, so that change will always be responsible and change will always be beneficial for every individual. Because at the end of the day, there is no power during the past with what you have given today for your own future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, candidate number. Parang gusto nitong magsumagot ng tanong, kaya lang wala, mamaya ka na lang Iya. Parang sabi ni Iya, kayang-kaya ko lahat. Kaya lang wala na, please na. Here is your question, Miss Yang. How can you promote civil engagement, Tita Koki, among the members of the LGBTQIA+ community? Nakaka-inlove tong question. How can you promote civil engagement among the members of the LGBTQIA+ community?
Ladies and gentlemen, the question is very much close to my heart as I am part of this community of the LGBTQ. Well, most people would state that it is indeed impossible for me to control every single individual, especially in my community, for the way they think, for the way that they should treat other people, especially gays, lesbians, transgenders. However, I always believe that nothing is impossible unless you say it is. I always believe that as a transgender teacher, I will be able to promote civil engagement among my members of the LGBT by simply being the role model, the epitome of how an LGBT member should and what they should be. I have always been part of this community, however, I never hated anyone. I never promoted hate, even on social media, if you would check it. I have never discriminated any part of these people behind me. I have always loved them. And with that, the young generation of my LGBTQIA members will do the same. Because I always believe, ladies and gentlemen, yes, role models, they are romanticized. Palagi po natin naririnig. However, I always believe that if you are a role model, you should do it and be that role model and show the people na hindi mo lang sinasabi, bagkus ginagawa mo bilang isang tao na pinapakita mo sa kanila kung ano dapat ang pagiging isang bakla, na hindi ka dapat nagmamaliit, hindi mo dapat tinatapakan, bagkus niyayakap mo ang isang komunidad. Let's always take in mind, ladies and gentlemen, and to those people of my community, hindi po natin matatakasan na iisa lang komunidad na yayakapin natin. Dahil pag meron tayong problema, sino ang susulong at tutulong? We LGBT members will be that standpoint and will make the paradigm shift of the change that we want to see here, even in the Philippines. Where I always believe, ladies and gentlemen, that if I, as a role model, would show a young child of how he should act as a gay, he would go home and affect one family. And one family would affect one other community. And one community can invade and change one country. And with that, I always believe that the change that I want to see here in my country, in my community of the LGBTQIA+, is not impossible. But that will be an amazing improvement of civil engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Queen, candidate number! Queen number 13! Miss Roxy Mauricio. Awarded by Kagawa Joseph Panoorin. And in addition to their prizes, Miss Christine, all of our winners will be having an opportunity. Up is Queen candidate number 11. Miss Mikay. I would like to say hi to Ate Em and to Ate Minyang. And of course to Ate Min, pagkasarap-sarap. And our second runner-up will be receiving a cash of 15,000 pesos. A sash, bouquet of flowers, crown, and a gift certificate amounting to 1,000 pesos, courtesy of Fiverr Network, DC Credit Union, the biggest, House of Unlimited, and Mr. Porky from the De La Cruz Group of Companies. Grabe, no? One Old Rose, one Royal Blue, and the second runner-up goes to Queen number... Partner, ikaw ang mag-announce, mabigat ka sa dibdib ko. Queen, candidate number 17! So, salamat for visiting Antipolo City. And of course, AJ Madrigal, our National Director, thank you so much for having us. Yes. It was a very, very momentous event.
Yes, all the sponsors, maraming salamat po for the generosity.
STI, maraming
The official
salamat.
tabulator.
Of course, to the working staff and crew.
All the designers, partner, right?
To our board of judges.
And all the Antipolenians who are still with us this late.
At syempre, ang
Maraming
mahal
salamat.
naman na kaibigan si Asia Bato. Daming mga ano dito ha, mga Miss Q&A Queens nandito sa
Yes. Maraming salamat
They
po.
travel all the way from their home to Antipolo City.
Yes, here
This
we go.
year's Queen of Queens 2023 is you, Queen number
Queen! Candidate number!
number 16. She will be receiving 30,000 pesos, and the first runner-up will receive 20,000 pesos.
Congratulations! So we will be awarding first